to a video about my opinions on every NASCAR Cup Series driver. This video was inspired by videos that Kamikaze Games has done a couple of times. So I am here to give my opinions on each driver in the NASCAR Cup Series that will be racing full time or at the very least a decent amount of times throughout the year, and my in depth opinions on them. Some of them will be like a novel, some of them will probably just be glossed over because I don't really know a ton about them. But without further ado, I'm going to get into it. I want to start off by saying, by giving my condolences to the friends and family of Michael Annette, Greg Biffle, and then Denny Hamlin and his family. Thankfully, it sounds like Denny's mother is doing better after that tragic house fire and everything. And I just want to, offer my thoughts and prayers to their to those families and wish them well and hope they find peace and hope they're finding peace in this difficult time. I also want to start out by talking about some of the positives over the off season. We got the chase back. No more eliminations, no more winning you're in. That's going to be fantastic. I'm super excited about that. And it's going to be, I think this is going to be a really good season. And the championship discussion won't be muddied and won't be buried in controversy. The winning you're in was turning into a real clown show, and I'm glad they finally got rid of it. And it's going to be a good year, I think, for NASCAR. And plus, we got Ram coming back to the Truck Series. And then a potential future for Dodge in the Upper Two series as well. So this season has a lot of positives surrounding it, and then of course you got that whole lawsuit business that happened over the off season as well. I think thankfully that got resolved, and they were able to come to a settlement, and now we can just move on to racing. We actually had a race a couple of nights ago, the Clash at Bowman Gray Stadium. That race was, from what I could tell, like the racing was good until the sleet came, and it was kind of an aggravating race to watch at that point. And I thought Chase Briscoe Chase Briscoe dominated the race for the most part, and felt like he probably deserved to win that one, but I didn't see what happened at the end. I don't know how everything ended up the way that it did, but Ryan Preece ended up winning, which isn't a terrible thing because he was driving that beautiful Kroger Coca-Cola paint scheme. So yeah, into the drivers now. I'm going to start off by talking about each driver, give my opinion, and a brief rundown on how I think they're going to do this year. And then I'm going to move on until we get through all the Cup drivers. And maybe in the future I'll do a stream for the Xfinity O'Reilly. You're going to hear me say that a lot, just so that way make sure everybody's up to date on that. O'Reilly will be the sponsor of what was the Xfinity Series back in the day, or last year. So it's going to be that's going to be interesting. I don't know if they're going to make them sing the O'Reilly song when they go to Victory Lane or what, but that's going to be kind of funny if they do. But without further ado, starting off with driver of the number one, I'm going to go in numerical order here. Ross Chastain, personally, Ross Chastain, in my opinion, I think Ross Chastain is a solid driver. I like Ross for the most part. Like, I don't really have like many issues with him. There's been a few times where he kind of irritated me a little bit. There was like maybe once or twice where he got into my driver, but overall, Ross Chastain is, for the most part, is inoffensive in my opinion, and he's a good driver. He first came on my radar. Like, I mean, I always knew he was around and everything, but like, he he really first came onto my radar whenever he was in those first few races for Ganassi, and back in 2018, and won one of the races. So that was really neat to see. And yeah. So as far as my expectations for him this year, probably about like what he ends up doing every year. He's going to win at least one race. He's probably going to make the chase. He's one of the drivers that are really consistent. And yeah, I can see Ross making the chase this year. Not a problem, unless Trackhouse just takes a step back this year. But I don't see all three Trackhouse racing cars missing the chase. At least one of them will, and Ross Chastain is definitely the guy that will be the front runner to make the playoffs. Moving on to Austin Cindric, I'm going to keep this one brief because really not a huge fan of Austin Cindric. He obviously has talent. He won an Xfinity championship, won a lot of races in his last full-time season in Xfinity. He didn't win the championship, but he still is a one-time Xfinity championship winner, and he won a lot of races. He actually won like 5 in a row one year. It was 2021. Or no, it was 2020. That's right. Yeah, he won like 5 races in a row in 2020. So I think 4 races in a row, something like that. I can't remember. 2020, believe it or not, was a long time ago. Like, it doesn't seem like it, but anyway, enough about that. Austin Cindric is just ever since that truck race that he won, where he spun Kaz Grala out of the way, I just kind of had it in my mind that I don't really care for him. He was just somebody to root against whenever he was in the Xfinity series, and so I never really have cared for him. But he is a talented driver. He's on the hot seat this year. Whether or not he actually loses his seat, I don't know. I don't really know who would be a good driver to replace him. I'm sure somebody in the Cup Series who could use a better ride would benefit from being in that car. I think there's quite a few drivers out there that would be better in that car than he's been over the last few years, because it seems like at the start of the year he does something, he wins a race, and then after he wins a race he just falls off. So I don't know. I don't have high hopes for Austin Cindric. I don't see him making the chase. That's for sure. He could surprise me. You never know. But as far as I know, everything on his team's the same as it was last year. I just don't see a ton of improvement in Austin Cindric, and I'm not going to pull for him to win anything. So, yeah, no love for Austin Cindric on this page, unfortunately. Excuse me. And then we're going to move on to Austin Dillon. I'm trying to get through all these as quickly as possible, so I'm not just sitting here talking for hours. But Austin Dillon. He is a different story when it comes to the Austins. Austin Dillon is a driver that I actually have. I've liked Austin Dillon for pretty much his entire career. I've never really had a problem with him. The three, people have a problem with him driving the three, but the three has been in Austin Dillon's family longer than Dale Earnhardt has been a driver in the Cup Series. So I understand why people have a problem with it. I just don't think that the hate that he gets just because he's driving the 3 car is warranted. And Austin Dillon, you can't really say he doesn't belong in the Cup because he has 6 wins. It doesn't matter how he won. I can say at least 5 out of those 6 wins he won legitimately. He probably didn't, even though he dominated the 2024 Richmond race, knocking Joey Logano and Denny Hamlin out of the way. He probably didn't deserve to win it because he didn't hold the position on the restart, but and the way he took them out on the last corner to win, that just it wasn't great. I will admit that. The Eric Almirola spin for the 2018 Daytona 500, there's a lot of people that have a problem with that. But, it's the Daytona 500, and Eric Almirola went up to block. So, really, that one, the blame could be shifted either way there. It just, with most people, they shift all the blame to Austin Dillon. I have no issues with Austin Dillon. I think he's a good driver. He's not championship caliber, but he is good. He'll probably end up, I'd have to say, by the time he retires, unless he just decides to step away before he comes of age to retire, I can see him with at least, 10 wins. Maybe he gets to 15 by the end of his career because he's sitting at 6 right now. So Austin Dillon, I think, is a great driver. He's a great driver. He's not, he's not like the best or anything. He's not, like I said, he's not going to light the world on fire, but he's still a great driver. He's won championships in the lower series and has multiple wins down in those series too. So it's not like he's a bum. He's not a bum. So that's my opinion on Austin Dillon. If I had to guess, like, if he somehow manages to win multiple races this year, I don't see that happening, but could be Richmond again. I don't know. I think Richmond, I don't know. You can only win at one place so many times in a row before you eventually get beat. So I don't know. Maybe Richmond, he'll probably get beat at Richmond this time. Maybe, I don't know. But I could also see him winning at a plate track. Moving on to, but yeah, I don't see Austin making the chase. Not unless him and Richard Boswell just get good. Noah Gragson, I don't see a lot of improvement for him either, unfortunately. I think Noah's an okay guy. He's definitely had some controversies throughout his career, but for the most part, Noah Gragson is he's okay. He's fine. It is what it is. I do think if he stays in Cup long enough, he will eventually get at least one win, and it'll probably be at a super speedway, not a plate track. They don't do stricter plates anymore. But yeah, I believe it'll be at a super speedway, not Nashville, but Atlanta, Daytona or Talladega, something like that. Because when you drive a Ford, your chances of winning one of those races automatically goes up. So But yeah, as far as Noah Gragson goes, he's all right. I don't have any issues with him. Um, I believe he probably should be in. He should probably still be in the Xfinity O'Reilly series, but I don't know. I don't have any issues with him. Number 5, Kyle Larson, defending champion, 3-time Chili Bowl champion. He's just a master class racer on dirt tracks. Broken record there. Sorry. I have respect for Kyle Larson as a racer. He's had his own controversies in the past, but he's more than made up for that. Should move on from it. It's kind of silly to still be talking about it, honestly. Just look at what he's done since joining Hendrick Motorsports. Put a talented driver like Kyle Larson in the top equipment, and he will win races. He will win championships, and I have no reason to believe that he's going to slow it down anytime soon. Kyle Larson, whenever he got to the Cup Series in 2014, I didn't want to root for him because he came up at the same time as Austin Dillon, and back then, I was kind of huge Austin Dillon fan. Back then, I still like Austin Dillon, but I don't know. I didn't want to see him do better than Austin, which that didn't. You see how well that turned out. Obviously, he's getting close to having 6 times the wins Austin does in the Cup Series here pretty soon. But Larson is a fantastic driver. He's really not problematic never really has been. He just made that one mistake, and people just hold it against him. But unless I probably won't get mad at Larson too much because he's my favorite Hendrick driver by default, and he is and unless he just takes one of my drivers out, I'm not going to be too mad at him for very long. Excuse me. So yeah, I see no reason why Larson's winning ways won't continue into this year and for the next few years until he's apparently ready to retire at 40. If that's really what he's going to do, I don't know. That's what I've heard him say, but he could have just been messing with us. Very possible, though. He's got a lot of dirt stuff he wants to accomplish in his career. Number 6, Brad Keselowski. Oh man, this is a big one right here. As a Kyle Busch fan, I like Brad Keselowski. Very rarely have I had any issues with Brad. Maybe back in 2014, 2015, back when he was running into everybody for no reason. Maybe I had a little bit of issue with him back then. But Brad has turned into a really respectable race car driver, especially from where he used to be. I was on his side during the Carl Edwards incident. I was excited for him when he won his very first Cup race in the 2009 Talladega race. And if that's the reason why Edwards was so miffed at him and trying to take him out all the time back in 2010, then that's a personal problem, Carl, because you had every much to do with that Talladega wreck as Brad did. So I don't know what to tell you, but that's just at least that's my opinion anyway. That's how I see it. But Brad has a special place in my heart because even though I'm typically a Chevy guy, and I'm starting, and last few years I've kind of become attached to Toyota as well. But ever since I was in high school, I've always liked the looks, the aesthetic of Dodge, and to see. I pulled for a Dodge driver for a really long time in Casey Kane. Casey Kane is my all-time favorite driver, and to see somebody else come to Penske, and do what he did for Dodge that no other Dodge driver since 2001 has been able to do was great. I was so happy to see Brad. I like Brad when he was driving for Dale Jr. And even if he would have ended up in the Hendrick team, I probably would have liked him there. He'd probably still be there, honestly, if he ended up in the Hendrick cars. Brad is a phenomenal talent. He's a true champion, and I am happy to say that I like Brad Keselowski. I was worried about him when he moved to Penske back in 2022, or when he left Penske back in 2022 to go to Roush. But to see what he's done with the team, he's elevated not only Roush, but he's elevated the career of Chris Buescher, who I will get to before long. And yes, it's going to be great to see if Brad can recover from this injury he got shortly after the offseason started. And I can't wait to see what RFK Racing does with Ryan Preece and Chris Buescher as well. But I'll get to them in a little bit. Brad is a generational talent, and he may be he's probably in the twilight years of his career, but I am pulling for Brad to make a recovery of some kind, maybe get a few more wins before it's all said and done in his career. So definitely a big Brad Keselowski supporter. He was at time one of my favorites. I still like him pretty well, so hoping for the best for Brad, and hope he has a speedy recovery and gets back to 100% soon. Daniel Suarez, okay, I'm going to start off and be nice on this one, because as of late, Daniel Suarez has really rubbed me the wrong way lately. Not him as a person by any means. Has nothing to do with him or any other personal personal attributes or anything. It's just stuff on the track. The thing that really pushed me over the edge when it comes to Daniel Suarez, the start of it was the 2023 Daytona 500. Kyle Busch is leading. Should have won the Daytona 500. He was leading at the 200 lap point, but he had to cause that caution right before the white flag, and Kyle Busch ends up wrecked, and Ricky Stenhouse Jr. wins. So, not very thrilled with Mr. Suarez as of late, and it's only gotten worse since 2023. Like, he just he causes stupid cautions more often than not. Thank goodness he didn't end up getting any wins. Although I would have preferred to see him win over over Joey Logano in the at that Atlanta race in the playoffs 2024. I guess that would have been okay, but other than that, I really could care less if Daniel Suarez ever wins another race. I think he should have. I think he should have cut his losses and went to Junior Motorsports or JGR or something. But I don't feel like he. I don't know. He can win Cup races. I don't know. I do think it's very possible he probably might win a race this year. Just kind of at some of the tracks where it's more luck based or anything. But like, thing is, you got to have luck, and Suarez doesn't have a whole lot of it right now because he's no longer at Trackhouse Racing. He's probably a little miffed. That's probably why he was trying to junk the Trackhouse cars. And who knows if the Spire deal is going to be a long-term solution for his career. So not looking at Suarez too brightly this year. There's no driver of the 8 car, is there? No. Skipping over to Chase Elliott. No, I'm just kidding. I got to talk about my boy. My boy, driver of the number 8 Richard Childress Racing Chevrolet, Kyle Busch, who I have met a handful of times at the Tulsa Shootout. You probably can't see the autograph real well, but I do have this car autographed. Beautiful liquid color. Anyway, this is not a diecast review. This is a driver review. So yeah, I've been a fan of Kyle Busch pretty much since the start of his Cup career. It was probably around his rookie season when I started to pay attention to NASCAR. Like, I've always, whenever I was younger, I would watch every now and then, pull for Jeff Gordon, because Jeff Gordon was really the only guy I knew. And then, like, I learned Jimmy Johnson. And I started learning all the drivers' names, and not only was there, I've come to find out, not only was there 4 drivers at Hendrick at the time. Like, I didn't know how many teammates Jeff Gordon had, but one of them was Kyle Busch, driver of the number 5 car back then. And, pretty neat. He's got the same first name as I do. That's not the main reason why I pull for him, because, I'm a moderate Kyle Larson fan, and Kyle, because if I only pulled for drivers because their first name is Kyle, I'd be a massive Kyle Petty fan, which I think Kyle Petty's okay, but Kyle Busch is one of my favorite drivers because I have always enjoyed watching him race. I love seeing him win. I really miss seeing him win over the last couple of seasons. The truck wins, just not enough. I need him to be in a better position this year, which I really think he will be. I really like the Jim Pullman hire. What he's done with Justin Allgaier in the Xfinity O'Reilly series. I am super cautiously optimistic for his chances in the 2026 season with Jim Pullman as his crew chief. But yeah, ever since he was in the... I've liked Kyle Busch since he was at Hendrick, but he really shot up for me whenever he moved to Joe Gibbs Racing back in 2008, started winning all those races, and every year I thought Kyle Busch was going to win the championship in 2008, and I was pumped. And then the chase happened, which, I don't know, this year, just him making the chase will be enough. Him winning a race or two, making the chase will be enough. But not, it didn't hurt at the time because I was also, so Kyle Busch, if I was to have a Mount Rushmore of drivers, it'd be more sentimental based because everybody has a Mount Rushmore of drivers. Like, they think is the peak. But my Mount Rushmore of drivers is more sentimental, and I still think that my Mount Rushmore of drivers is really good. So it would be Jeff Gordon, Tony Stewart, Kyle Busch, and Casey Kane. Those have been prominent favorites of mine over the years, and I will always be fans of them, even after 3/4 of them are gone now, no longer racing full-time in NASCAR. Super pumped to hopefully put the slump behind us this year for the 18. And we'll see what happens. Whether or not he stays at RCR beyond this year, I don't know. But I could see Kyle Busch winning somewhere this year. It would be a crime if he went winless this year for 3 straight seasons. And really, there's nobody to blame but RCR at this point. I mean, yeah, Kyle Busch has made some pretty bad decisions, but that's just because he has to overdrive the car to compensate for the lack of power that RCR has given him because they can't get their crap together. So it all comes back around to RCR and their performance issues. And I'm hoping now that they've got both Boswell and Pullman there, that RCR will get more competitive and better, and Kyle Busch will be able to get a win this year. It is very, very sad that the only race that RCR had sniffed at a win this past year was when Austin Dillon won Richmond. And Kyle Busch is supposed to be the better driver on that team, and his team did jack diddly for him. I mean, Kyle Busch still had a pretty decent average finish this year, but it wasn't like it should have been. And I'm really, really hoping that this year will be a step back in the right direction for Rowdy Busch and the number 8. And I could just keep going on and on about Kyle Busch. I do want to say one last thing, though, before I move on to Chase Elliott. There's this asterisk that's put at his 2015 championship. It's an asterisk that's not really there because, like, it's invisible, but people still put it there because in their minds he's not a deserving championship winner that year because he didn't run all the races. And the thing that annoys me about that is they say that he missed half of the races. He didn't miss half of the races. He missed 11. He missed about a third of the season, which is still not great. But the part of the season that he did race, he brought, he drove well enough that with the medical waiver that he was granted, and mind you, he went above and beyond the requirements to be able to use that medical waiver to get into the playoffs. He had to win a race and finish top 30 in points. He was well above top 30 in points by the time the playoffs started. In fact, I think he would have made it up to 20th in points had the medical waiver not been given to him. But he also won four out of 5 races in a 5-race stretch. Almost made it 5 out of 6. If that stinking fuel pump wouldn't have run out of gas at Pocono. Congrats to Matt Kenseth on that one. But another great driver, by the way. Kyle Busch's 2015 championship will always be legitimate to me, no matter what people say. That's my opinion on it, and you can disagree with me all you want, but that's just how I feel about it. He'd be a two-time champion either way, like if things were different, because he should have won the 2018 championship, but Giggles Logano decided to Giggles Logano in his way into everything, so that's just how it is. All right, number 9, Chase Elliott. I have no reason to dislike Chase Elliott. Chase Elliott's a good driver. He is a championship caliber driver, in my opinion. It's taken him a bit to get back up to speed from his 2023, his disastrous 2023 season, where he missed quite a few races because of an injury he got in a skiing accident. But he won Texas in 2024, and then he won Atlanta and Kansas this past year. So he's still a good race winning driver. He's still consistent enough to compete for a championship. Probably wasn't quite on the level as guys like Christopher Bell, William Byron, Denny Hamlin, and some of them, but he's still up there in that conversation, and I see no reason why Chase Elliott won't be back into form again this year. And Chase Elliott's a respectable guy. The only really major blemish he has on his career is when he decided to send Denny Hamlin into the wall in the Coca-Cola 600 and got suspended for a race. That wasn't a good moment, but there's a history there. But Chase Elliott, solid driver, likable guy. He's the most popular driver for a reason. Don't know how much longer he's going to be able to hold on to that, but who am I kidding? It's Chase Elliott. He inherited the Junior Nation mania, so yeah. If somebody's going to beat him, it's not going to be for more than a year in a row. It's not going to happen. But yeah. That's half of Hendrick Motorsports that I like, and the other half that I really just couldn't give a crap about. So, Larson and Elliott, the 5 and the 9. Speaking of drivers I couldn't give a crap about, how about Ty Dillon? Unlike his brother, I am not a Ty Dillon fan. No, sir. I don't dislike Ty Dillon. I don't have like major issues with him, other than the fact that he's had earlier in his career, he had the same equipment that his brother did and did way less with it. And there were people hyping him up, saying that he's going to be better than Austin. This ain't like Kurt Busch and Kyle Busch, okay, where the younger brother's better. Unfortunately, the older brother's better in this situation, and the bar is not real high. In fact, Ty Dillon set the bar so low that he has been irrelevant for much of his career. He only has one win in the Xfinity O'Reilly Series, and he only has like maybe 3 or 4 truck wins. No championships anywhere except for ARCA, where he peaked. He probably should have stayed in ARCA, but that's just how that's how I feel about Ty Dillon. I don't see Ty Dillon as a Cup Series driver. I think he should be racing full time in for RCR in the Xfinity O'Reilly Series, trying to get more wins, because he's been around too long to go back all the way back down to trucks, in my opinion. I do think he could win races if he was in the right situation. It's just not going to happen in Cup, especially not this year at Colleague Racing. Colleague Racing is going to be at a massive disadvantage this year because they just don't have the factory support because of the Ram deal in the Truck Series now. So, yeah, I don't. Somebody's got to finish 35th every week, and it's probably going to be Ty Dillon. Granted, he did improve a pretty good margin over where he ran the past few seasons. I don't even remember where he raced before Colleague. That's how little I regard Ty Dillon. But yeah, it's don't have Ty Dillon. He's not going to do anything this year, so probably just it's probably best to just move on, honestly, from talking about him. Moving on to Denny Hamlin. Man, where do I begin? I also like Denny Hamlin. Probably not to the extent that I like guys like Brad Keselowski or I don't know, like Ryan Blaney or something like that. But he's not far down there. I like Denny Hamlin. I always have. Very rarely have I ever been annoyed with Denny Hamlin. Probably the latter years of Kyle Busch's JGR career, I was tired of him always beating Kyle Busch for wins. Not always, but it seemed like every time they were running 1-2, it was Hamlin. And Hamlin, really, you couldn't find it in your heart to push Kyle Busch to a Daytona 500 win whenever you were pushed by him to a Daytona 500 win. Seriously, come on, guy. But it is what it is, The fact that Denny doesn't have a championship is a crime, especially because it should have been this year. Even though Larson, really none of the drivers that made the championship for you can really dispute their deservingness of winning a championship. As much crap as I give William Byron, even he deserved to be there. As much as I really hated seeing him snooker Christopher Bell for a playoff position, but for the second year in a row, Denny Hamlin's loss at Phoenix was devastating, and his offseason was a roller coaster, to say the least. I've always been a fan of Denny Hamlin. Started out just because he was Tony Stewart's teammate. Because for the most part, I've always liked Tony Stewart. So anybody that goes to drive for him or drive with him as a teammate, at least back when he was at Gibbs, Stewart Haas is a different issue altogether. But I still like Tony Stewart, even, when he was with Stewart Haas. But, I really liked him when he was with Gibbs. And Kyle Busch and Denny Hamlin got a boost by being at Gibbs because I've been a Gibbs fan for a long time. Don't really care for... Anyway, back to Denny. Back to Denny. Denny is a great driver. I don't know what to expect out of Denny except for making the chase. I don't see him missing it unless he just completely collapses at the start of the season. It's very likely, or it's possible, that we could just be seeing Briscoe and Bell be the Gibbs drivers in the chase this year. But I don't know. I want to assume that Denny Hamlin will get back up to speed after this tumultuous off season, and I think Denny will be a great championship title contender. if he's able to get back to the level he was last year, or even just sniffing the surface of the level he was last year. It just remains to be seen. But I think Denny's ceiling for this season is pretty high. We'll see how he does. We'll see how long it takes for him to get his mojo back. Can't say that I blame him after everything he's gone through. As bad as a championship hurts, losing a parent is worse. And I wish Denny Hamlin the best for this season, and I hope to see him have some level of success this year. Same goes to Ryan Blaney. My goodness, if Blaney would have won Martinsville, we'd be talking about a fourth Penske championship in a row and a two-time champion in Ryan Blaney. As much as I like Ryan Blaney, I did not want to see a single Penske car in the Final Four this year, so thank goodness that didn't happen. Especially when it comes to Logano. I did not want to see Logano at Phoenix at all. And thankfully, we don't have to worry about that this year. But Ryan Blaney, regardless of the playoffs or the chase, Ryan Blaney is going to be a front runner, no doubt. And I believe Ryan Blaney will be a serious championship threat. So let's see. I guess next is AJ Allmendinger. Yes, AJ Allmendinger. Like Ty Dillon, I don't expect a lot out of him. I've liked AJ for quite a while, honestly. His career has been a roller coaster as well. In and out of Penske, coming back to Penske to win a couple of Xfinity Series races back in the day. Great comeback. And then to see how his career has just taken off at Kaulig racing. Unfortunately, I don't see, unless AJ makes some starts in the lower series this year, I don't expect much out of him, just because of the fact that Kaulig Racing's Cup Series team is going to be severely in the dumpster this year. Even with backing from Stellantis brand and whatever other sponsors they have on the cars, I just don't see Kaulig Racing amounting to much this year. Maybe AJ makes some noise on the road courses, but I doubt it. I won't get too in depth about AJ a lot, but I have liked AJ pretty much ever since he was forced out of Red Bull and eventually ride hopped around until he made it to Evernham Motorsports, and whenever they rebranded, they became Richard Petty Motorsports. Got to see him run decent at times in a Dodge, which is why I hope he does get one of the Dodge 25 truck races in the Kaulig. That's why I hope he gets one of the truck races in the 25 truck for the Kaulig Ram team, because AJ had somewhat of a successful run. He didn't win anything, obviously, but he did okay in a Dodge. AJ is unfortunately, I just don't see much for AJ being in the Cup Series. I guess it was a no-brainer that he was going to do the Cup Series campaign, though, since Kaulig's not feeling any Xfinity O'Reilly cars this year. So, yeah. Don't expect much out of AJ. Chris Buescher, number 17. That Cinnamon Toast Crunch car. I've got to get that car whenever it comes out. At least in a 64 scale diecast, because that was a beautiful paint scheme. I love it. If it's already out and I missed it, then I'll just have to try to find one somewhere. But so Chris Buescher is a driver that has taken me quite a long time to warm up to. I just haven't really cared for Chris Buescher much up till this point. But what he's, I have caught on. I've noticed what he's been able to do at RFK, especially since Brad came aboard. That second year with Brad, there was a massive shot in the arm for Chris and the 17 team. I refuse to call him Christopher Buescher because his name is Chris for a reason. There's only one Christopher. We will get to him in a minute. Wonder how many people there are in Prosper, Texas now, Mr. Rick Allen. But I can honestly say that I will be rooting somewhat for Chris Buescher this year. He has proved me wrong. I did not expect him to amount to much whenever him and Stenhouse basically swapped rides at the conclusion of the 2019 into 2020. And Chris has proved me wrong. Took him a couple of years to get there, but he eventually has proved me wrong. He won 3 races in 2023 and got the win. He beat SVG at the Glen. And I think Chris Buescher has a good year ahead of him. Out of the 3 RFK cars, he's the one I expect to go the furthest. Yeah. That's really all I have to say about Chris Buescher. Up until this point, didn't really think much of him. But I legitimately hope he has a good year this year. Now moving on to another one of my favorite drivers, Chase Briscoe. I have been a fan of Chase Briscoe for a long time. I've met him at the Chili Bowl back in 2021. He was super nice. I was already kind of on the Chase Briscoe bandwagon because that was coming off of the 2020 season where he won 9 races. Wish he would have had a better race at Phoenix, and so he could have won the championship instead of Cindric. But it is what it is. He's no longer with Ford now, so that's even better. I'm not a huge Ford fan, but he was up until he moved to Gibbs, he was my Ford guy by default. But now he's with Gibbs. I am super excited to see what he's able to do this year. I was very stoked to see what he was able to accomplish in 25. 3 wins and a playoff Final Four appearance. The final Four appearance ever, hopefully. Hopefully they never go back to the Final Four ever again. But very pleased with this season for Chase Briscoe. And I definitely wish Briscoe all the success going into the 2026 season. Hopefully he magnifies his feats from 2025 and wins even more races. And it's pretty neat. He comes from nothing, almost loses his career on multiple occasions. Thank you, High Point and Mahindra Tractors, for keeping Chase Briscoe in NASCAR thank you so much. I appreciate everything you did for his career. And now Chase Briscoe has multiple sponsors on that car this year. He's not just doing the Bass Pro paint schemes this year. Uh, he's got Freebird sparkling water or whatever the heck that is, spring water or whatever. And then Columbia Bank, I think. And then Zepp from the Stuart Haas days. I guess they're leaving. Noah Gregson and being on his car this year when they sponsored him at New Hampshire when he finished second to Bell. So little bit of familiarity there with Chase Briscoe. Super excited for what 2026 has for him. I really hope he lives up to the hype that he built for himself in 2025, and am going to be really pulling for Chase to win. Maybe even win the championship this year. It's not out of the realm of possibility at this point. He's shown what he can do. So we'll have to see. There's precedent in the past. And if you really think about it, Chase Briscoe only has 2 bad seasons out of, it's 2 out of 5, but those 2 seasons he's had bad seasons where Stuart Haas just really struggled. And they struggled in 2024 in his last year there, but somehow they managed to get Chase Briscoe to the point where he could be the lone driver carrying the team, taking that role over from Kevin Harvick, and he made the best out of the 2024 chase or playoffs or whatever you want to call them, and now he's in the best position that he's ever been in, and he did it all because of hard work, and he did it with the help of people who believe in him. So I feel vindicated as a Chase Briscoe supporter. Super excited to see what he can do this year. Equally as pumped for Christopher Bell, because I feel like even though Christopher Bell got snubbed from the Final Four the last 2 years, he ain't got to worry about that crap now. He just has to go out there and drive and do what he's been doing the last 3 or 4 years now. Christopher Bell is a phenomenal talent. I cannot wait to see what he and Adam Stevens have cooked up for this year. The departure of Chris Gabehart from JGR doesn't concern me too much, because they were doing just fine before Chris Gabehart stepped into that role, and he presumably left a lot of good notes there, so not too worried about it. But Christopher Bell, as a driver, I am so ready for him to be a Cup champion. If it's not Chase Briscoe, I definitely am pulling for Christopher Bell, because Bell has had it coming for a while, and I really cannot stress how much I am pulling for the 20 car to be the championship, to win the championship in 2026. And really looking forward to seeing that happen. Pulling for Christopher Bell this year for sure. Moving on to Josh Berry. Even though he did end up wasting a playoff spot, it wasn't all his fault. He still won Las Vegas. He still won Las Vegas legitimately. That said, I don't see him replicating being in the postseason this year for sure. But I wouldn't be surprised if Barry ended up winning again, at least getting a win. I think he's good for a win a year if everything works out for him. So Super excited for the Wood brothers, though, to have 2 good years in a row where they made the playoffs, and now their stock has risen. Even if I'm not completely stoked about how the Wood brothers won the 2024 Daytona race with Harrison Burton out of freaking nowhere, that was so devastating to watch as a Kyle Busch fan. Seeing Kyle Busch finish second to Harrison Burton, of all people. But, I'm pulling for Harrison, though, and he's back, and he's still running. He's running full time in the O'Reilly Series for the second year in a row, and I've got to say I'm pulling for him. He's driving for Sam Hunt in the 24 car. Really looking forward to see if that is a improvement winning ride for him. Because if anybody can win with Sam Hunt, it's Harrison Burton. But anyway, Josh Berry. Josh Berry is a good driver. He has proven that. He's gotten good finishes over the course of his career, especially in his substituting roles when he subbed for both Chase Elliott and Alex Bowman in 2023. He got decent finishing positions there. So he's not a championship contender. He won't win the championship. I don't even think he's going to make the chase, but Josh Berry is going to be all right. Okay. Joey Logano. I was, once upon a time, a fan of Joey Logano. I stuck up for him on multiple occasions. And no, I did not stop pulling for him the year he left Joe Gibbs Racing. I was actually still a fan of Logano up until he won the championship in 2018. He had that incident with Kyle Busch at Vegas in 2017. That was kind of the starting point of my disdain for Joey Logano. And I was just kind of sick of him at that point in 2019. I was thankful that he didn't make the Final Four in 2019. And I'm glad Kyle Busch ended up winning the championship that year. But him winning 2018 initially didn't bother me too much. But in hindsight, I really wish Truex would have won it. Because I feel like Truex going back to back after the season he had in 2017, I think that would have ended up being better. And then he wouldn't be 3-time champion winner. I don't even want Joey Logano to be a 1-time champion, but there ain't nothing I can do about that now. Yeah, Logano used to get picked on earlier in his career. And now my eyes have kind of been open as to why that is. Yeah, Joey has always kind of raced like a punk, and I don't support Logano for that reason. So, yeah, Joey Logano can screw off. I don't care. I'm not going to pull for him. Probably the final nail in the coffin for Joey Logano was the 2020 Bristol night race when he was laps down blocking Kyle Busch after he had worked tirelessly for several laps to finally pass Kevin Harvick for the lead. Had it for a good solid 10 laps, and then Logano puts the block on him and gives the win back to Harvick. That was when I was done. That was the last straw. And yeah, Joey Logano basically that year was the new Ryan Newman. And I had issues with Newman late in his career too for that exact reason. And then in Phoenix this year, Logano holds up Denny Hamlin for he has literally zero reason to. It's not like Logano's going to win the race. Denny Hamlin might have been able to do something with Larson had Logano not held him up. I get that you're supposed to race hard for every position, but there was no respect for the championship in that race. And that's really all as far as I'm going to go with that, because I can see how saying that, how making this point would make people mad. And I completely understand why. And that's why I'm not going to get into it any further, because Logano at the end of the day is out there for himself, and I completely respect that. But that doesn't mean I have to like what he does on the track. And that's really not the most egregious thing he's ever done. But there is past precedent for stuff that Logano has done. And yeah, I'm done talking about him. Moving on. The 23 of Bubba Wallace. Oh, man. Whenever Bubba Wallace first came onto the scene, I was pulling for him. And, the stuff, and it didn't work out with him at Toyota at first. He won races for Kyle Busch Motorsports and then ended up at Roush because there wasn't any room for him at Gibbs. So, and he came close to winning a race in 2015. Then Chris Buescher, I think that was probably where my kind of disdain for Chris Buescher came from, was that one Dover race where Bubba had a chance to win, and Buescher punted him out of the way to take the win himself, and that may be where that little disdain I had for Buescher came from. But I'm over that now. Bubba Wallace is just there, basically. Like I got over the not that the 2020 incident with the FBI and the garage pole incident, not that I really gave much of a thought about it, because I know it wasn't his fault. He wouldn't have even known about it had the NASCAR media not blown all that out of proportion. So I know that it wasn't Bubba's fault for all that. But there was a lot of tomfoolery that went down on social media because of all that. And it kind of soured Bubba for a little bit. But, I never actively disliked Bubba, and I don't. He's just there. And, I was legitimately okay with him winning Indianapolis because he earned it. He earned that Kansas win in 2022. And yeah, I can safely say he earned that first win of his in Talladega, because, you stay out during a rain delay and the race never goes back green, you win the race. So, yeah, I don't know where to set my bar for my expectations of Bubba this year, but I would have to say probably about what he's been doing. Maybe he's good to win. This could be his year where he wins multiple races. I don't know. but I don't see him being a championship contender unless he just really goes on a tear this year. Number 24, William Byron. Another driver that's kind of annoyed me over the past few years, but for the right reasons. He's doing his job. He's going out there doing what he's paid to do. He's not a dirty driver by any means. I just get annoyed with him because, especially over the last couple of years, because he's been in the same position for the Final Four as my boy Christopher Bell. And for the last 2 years, he snookered him out of the championship four appearance. Don't have to worry about that this year. I do hope he doesn't go back to back on the Daytona 500. I'm hoping, this guy right here, this guy right here, this guy right here. I hope he finally gets it, but I can dream. But if there's one race I don't want to see William Byron win next year, it's definitely the Daytona 500, because we've seen enough of that already. Thank you very much. And as long as somebody I really can't stand doesn't win the Daytona 500, I'll be happy. But I guess, maybe, I don't know. I don't know about that. Daytona 500 is pretty high. You get pretty hyped for that race, and when your driver gets taken out or doesn't win, it's always disappointing. But at least William Byron is a top tier contender, and him winning the past couple of years kind of put an end to some of the. It kind of broke the streak of non-contenders getting it for the past few seasons. So, at least there's that. So, yeah, I really don't have much negative to say about William Byron other than the fact that he low-key annoys me. I don't pull for him to win unless he's racing somebody I really don't want to see win, especially Giggles Logano. So, yeah, not very often that I'm pulling for William Byron, but as a driver and a competitor, I respect his talent. And really, he is adding to the legacy of the 24, so there's also that. But yeah, out of the 400 cars, I like the 5 and the 9, 24 and the 48 are just there. I don't really care what they do as long as they don't beat my drivers. They can. William Byron's going to win races this year, no doubt. Let's see. Who is next? I believe it goes, let's see, Byron. Todd Gilliland, 34. Had to think about that for a second. Todd Gilliland, 34. I don't expect much out of him either. I honestly don't know why he's in Cup. But he has come closer than any. If you don't count Zane Smith when he was with Spire finishing second at Nashville. He's the only driver that's really come close to winning a race when he finished second at Talladega to Chase Briscoe back in October. So there's that. I guess out of the three front row guys, I'd say Todd Gilliland has the most excuse to be there, but not by much. And yeah. I don't really have much of an opinion on him, other than I think he'd be great in the lower series. But not everybody in the Cup Series can have all the success. So he's probably could be a decent driver if he had a better opportunity. He's definitely the one out of Craigston, him, and Smith, as I like to call Zane Smith. I call him Smith instead of Smith. It's Smith. I'll get to him in a minute, but out of those three guys, Todd Gillen is probably the one with the most business being in the Cup Series for sure, and that's not really saying much, but he does have talent, and he does have that Gilliland racing gene, because his dad David also drove the 34 car for a while. Never won with the team, but the 34 is the flagship car at Front Row, and I can't think of a better person on that team after Michael McDowell stepped out of that car. I can't think of a better person to be driving that car. So I don't expect much out of Todd Gillen. It's possible he could get a win at a super speedway, but yeah, don't really expect much out of him. Riley Herbst, I wish he was. I said that not everybody can stay in the O'Reilly Series, and not everybody can have success in the Cup Series, but Riley Herbst is one guy that I really wish would have stayed in the O'Reilly Series, because he really didn't do justice in that car. But Denny Hamlin has faith in him, so you gotta trust Denny Hamlin and his judgment in drivers. He is a driver himself, a very successful one at that. Him and Michael Jordan have built this team really well over the past few years. So if they say they expect to see Riley Herbst improve this year, then I guess I'm on board to see if he does, but I just don't see it. He's not going to win any races. He's not going to make the chase. So that's really all I have to say about it. I really wish he would have stayed in the O'Reilly Series. Don't really know where he would go this year, but he'd probably be driving a Chevy team of some kind this year for sure, if he did. But yeah, don't expect much out of Riley Herbst. I don't expect much out of Zane Smith either. I don't expect much out of him. Yeah. He is at least unlike Todd Gillen, who I think out of the three front road guys has the most business being in Cup. At least Smith has the honor of being the best truck driver out of the three of them, because Noah Gragson won 2 races, and Toad Gilly, that's my nickname for Todd Gillen. Toad Gilly didn't do much in the truck series, so not a lot of hope in Front Row Motorsports outside of super speedways, unfortunately. But it is what it is. So yeah, that's really all I have to say about Smith. Yeah, I don't expect much out of him either. Somebody's got to run in the 30s, low 20s, and that's Zane Smith. Let's see, 38, 39, 40, 41, Cole Custer. Another guy I'm going to gloss over, kinda. I think Haas should be a 3-car O'Reilly Series team, and I think Cole Custer should be in the He's going to run some. He's going to run some O'Reilly Series races for SS Greenlight this year. I think that's the team. Pretty sure that is in the number 0 car. I think number 0 should be his number in the O'Reilly Series as a third full-time Haas driver, because there's really no reason for Haas or Cole Custer to be in the Cup Series. Cole Custer does have a win, but that was coming off of Stuart Haas' success, coming off of a solid 2018 season. Well, no. That was 2020 when he won Kentucky. And I believe Harvick was the only driver who won in 2019 for Stuart Haas. Yeah. So, yeah. But still, Harvick was still really good in 2019. So, so they were basically, that team was basically piggybacking off of that. And then 2020 was really the last good year for Stuart Haas outside of Harvick and Briscoe in 2024. So Cole Custer just hasn't really been able to cut it. And it's sad that the win in you're in situation leapfrogged him over Reddick and Bell to make it to where he beat them out of the Rookie of the Year title that they both deserved over him. And I don't want to sound like a Cole Custer hater, because I don't hate Cole Custer. That's why I said he should be in the O'Reilly Series, because I would have fun watching Cole Custer mix it up with Sam Mayer and Sheldon Creed as a teammate in the O'Reilly Series. I just don't see why Cole Custer is in the Cup Series. And yeah, that's really don't have much else to say about it. I mean, it's good to see my favorite number, 41, back on a Chevy. So there is that. But I got that in the O'Reilly Series too. Be nice if that number was free to use in the NASCAR 26 game for this year. But it is what it is. Cole Custer, he's here. He'll probably do something. He always has at least one or two good races in the season, so that's really all we can expect out of that. There might be a slight uptick in performance. He might surpass a few teams that he ran behind or around last year in 2025, but I don't see much improvement for Cole. John Hunter Nemechek, I think we'll see an uptick in performance out of that team. They didn't really show up for the Clash. The second year in a row, no Legacy Motor Club car made it, but John Hunter Nemechek has proven that he is better than, he's better than running back marker, especially whenever he's in a good car. And Legacy Motor Club cars are improving. And I am looking forward, not really so much for his sake, because I like his teammate better than him, but I would not be surprised if either him or Jones win a race this year. They've rebuilt their data book, and going to be neat to see what they can do this year. And speaking of Legacy Motor Club, we're going to Eric Jones, who I am really hoping to see him make a leap from where he was last year. He ran he ran much better than he did in 2023 and 2024 this past year. And it's going to be great to see if he's able to pull off a win. I think if I had to put money on, and I'm not a gambler by any means, but if I had to put money on which Legacy Motor Club car was going to win, I would say Eric Jones. And it doesn't necessarily have to be just Darlington or Daytona, the only two tracks where he has won at so far. Eric Jones was really good at Texas when they went to Texas last year. And I could see him pulling an upset at Texas. It's possible. It's very possible. Especially if they bring their A game for that race. And Eric Jones has always been really good at Texas. I think he possibly could have won the 2019 Spring Texas race. But I think it was 2019, maybe in 2018. I think it was a race that Kyle Busch won, so it was probably 18. My bad. I think he could have won the 2018 Texas race. Could have had a couple of wins in 2018. Honestly, could have had a couple of wins in 2019 too. Eric Jones is a better driver than results have shown, and I legitimately hope for success for his team. Going to be good. I tell you what. Tyler Reddick. I don't have a lot of excitement around Tyler Reddick. Just objectively as a fan, just because I've never really been a big Tyler Reddick fan. Whenever he first went to 2311, I was somewhat excited because, I mean, I'm not gonna lie, I was hoping Kyle Busch, as soon as it was made apparent he wasn't going to go to Gibbs, I was hoping the 45 was going to be his landing spot after 2022, but that ended up going to Tyler Reddick, and that ended up being a pretty decent choice. I just not big on Reddick at all. Never really have cared for him that much. But he's okay. He's fine. I didn't really care for him. Didn't really think anything of him when he was in trucks because he didn't win anything. Well, no. I'm correcting myself. Yeah, he won a few truck races. Never really cared for him. Really didn't care for him winning. Like, he basically did what Jesse Love did in 2018 in the Xfinity O'Reilly series. So Xfinity stuff. It was Xfinity. I'll just say Xfinity for that one, but I didn't care for the way he won the championship there. And the lower series is where the major blemishes of the win and you're in, and the one race winner take all championship finale. That's really where the flaws were really exposed, was in the truck and Xfinity series, because while he did deserve it more in 2019 when he won it for RCR. He did win a championship for two different teams, Junior Motorsports in 18 and RCR in 2019. I still wasn't excited because of who he was racing. I was more pulling for Christopher Bell in both of those seasons. And I feel like Christopher Bell was the more deserving champion in both of those seasons over Tyler Reddick, and it just didn't end up happening. All because Bell's car wasn't as good for the last race. So that's another. Tyler Reddick is one of the catalysts for me starting to hate the the playoffs as they were, as they had become. And I'm glad we are now moving away from that. But for Tyler Reddick as a person and as a driver, he's fine. I'm glad. At least I assume. Pretty sure I heard that his little boy is doing better. His little boy was having some complications over the season last year, which is, I don't want to speculate, could have contributed to his only winless season with 23-11 so far. I don't know. I don't want to sit here and speculate that, but hopefully with things seemingly improving over there, and with the lawsuit was probably a big reason for his fall off in performance too, with the uncertainty with the charters and everything. That's probably the more likely reason. But regardless of that, Reddick is still a solid driver. He still ran really well. Might have won Darlington in the playoffs. Thankfully, Briscoe held on to get that much deserved win. But see, that's just the thing. More often than not, when Tyler Reddick wins, it's at the expense of my driver, and it's usually when they deserve to win it more. It's kind of like my issue with my kind of issue with William Byron a little bit, only to a bigger degree, because I think Byron is better than Reddick. I think Reddick is overrated slightly. He's not a scrub. He's not a bum. He's not a talentless loser. He's clearly got talent, and he can clearly drive a race car, as we saw at the end of the 2024 Homestead race. I don't know. His success has sometimes come at the expense of my guys, and that's just why I am not as big on Tyler Reddick as a lot of other people are. I don't hate anybody, not even Logano. I don't really super dislike Tyler Reddick. Out of the 23-11 drivers, he's probably the one I like the best by default, I guess. But yeah, that's really all I have to say about Reddick. Let's see. 47. There is no 46. 47, Ricky Stenhouse Jr. Not gonna lie, I liked Ricky okay up until the 2024 All-Star race where he punched Kyle Busch in the face. Especially after Kyle Busch was trying to, he was about to admit to Stenhouse that he overstepped. Like it looked like where that conversation was going, and he just sucker punches him in the face. I was fuming whenever I was watching that. I was not happy. I was mad. I wish I could have climbed through that TV and punched Stenhouse right back. I was so mad at Stenhouse for a whole year. Probably until I saw him at the Chili Bowl in 25, honestly. But Stenhouse, he's not in a position where he can really show his talent. I think Stenhouse is a legitimately talented driver. He's just not in a position where he can show it. And I think his strengths lie in the Xfinity Series, where he's not only a champion, but a two-time back-to-back champion, winning it in 2011 and 2012. So Stenhouse is a good driver. Doesn't have the equipment to prove it. He was doing good for the first few races in 2025, and then he fell off as inevitably he would, just driving for the quality of team that he drives for. Not a knock at Hayek Motorsports. It's just how it is. Unless you can maintain it, you're going to lose it. And that's what happened. And I don't really expect much out. I don't even know if I can even say that I expect him to win a super speedway race. I just don't see much happening for Hayek Motorsports, and I wouldn't be too shocked if Stenhouse leaves the team for something better or goes back down. In fact, he's running some races for Nice, and that could be his future place of driving. He could end up becoming a full-time truck driver in 2027. Who knows? But yeah, I don't expect much out of Stenhouse. Bowman, Alex Bowman, 48 car. There was a little bit where Bowman was annoying me. Kind of for the same reasons Tyler Reddick slightly annoys me. Just popping up and winning races out of nowhere. Winning races he didn't really deserve to win. I mean, I guess to some extent he did, I guess, because he was there. Kind of like where Austin Cindric won Gateway. But not huge on Bowman. I don't dislike him near as much as I used to. For a while, Alex Bowman was really punchable in my eyes, but I'm not going to be too harsh on him because he has had a pretty up and down last few seasons. Getting a concussion in a sprint car crash. And I hate that for him because I like dirt racing. And whenever a dirt driver can't drive because of an injury they get, especially whenever they have a full-time career in another sport, that bums me out a little bit. I do feel bad for Bowman in that respect. Even though he still does field dirt cars for CJ Leary and a couple others. But, yeah, I don't know. I think I would be surprised if Bowman is still in the 48 after this year because this is a contract year for him. There are drivers who I think could do better in that car than he does. I feel like if he was going to turn it around, he would have already done it. That's not to say I don't expect him to maybe win a race, but that's probably it. He'll probably make the chase, but even if he wins a race and makes the chase, he's still leagues behind Elliott, Larson, and Bowman and Byron. So, I mean, Eric Estep brought up a good point a while back, said if the fourth Hendrick driver is at least making the chase and is contending for wins, that's better than some of the past fourth Hendrick guys have run over the several years where not all the Hendrick cars were good. Like there's only been a handful of years where all four Hendrick cars were good in a season, and that hasn't happened in a long time. It's been over a decade since all four Hendrick cars were like really great. Well, no, I take that back. 2021 was a pretty good year for Hendrick as a whole. They all four did win races. As much as I hate to say it, Bowman has even slightly outshined Casey Kane from whenever he was regulated to the fourth Hendrick guy. Still not happy with Hendrick Motorsports for how they handled Kane. I think they could have done more to help him. I don't think it was all on Casey. I don't know all the details and stuff, but behind the scenes. But I still have a little bit of resentment toward Hendrick Motorsports for the way Casey's the latter half of Kane's tenure with Hendrick went, and I don't feel like I'm wrong to feel that way. At the same time, I realized that part of it was Kane was declining as a driver, unfortunately. But I feel like in a better, in a more stable situation. Why am I talking about Casey Kane and Hendrick Motorsports? I'm not even going to finish this thought. I need to get back to Bowman. I'm sorry about that. I sometimes go off on a tangent sometimes. But Bowman, yeah, I don't know. I guess it just depends on how much Hendrick is okay with Bowman being the fourth guy and running like he is compared to his teammates. Because I would think that Hendrick would want all four of his cars running good. Of course, at the same time, Hendrick has rarely ever had all four Hendrick cars running at optimum speed. And if any team needs to be a 3-car team after being a 4-car team for all this time, I think it's Hendrick, because they can only ever seem to get 3 of them at most running good consistently. So I doubt Hendrick will let go of that 4th charter anytime soon. But I think he will be looking for. I believe that this is Alex Bowman. This could potentially be Alex Bowman's last season in the 48. Sorry, the Alex Bowman segment I kind of spaced out a bit talking about that, but that's just how it is. Cody Ware, 51 car, is Cody Ware in the 51 car. Manufacturer change ain't going to help him. Moving on. 54, Ty Gibbs. Did we really have to push Busch out of JGR for this? I mean, really? I think Ty Gibbs is a talented driver. I think he will maybe win a race eventually. But honestly, I don't understand why this happened. I feel like Gibbs should have been in the. They should have stuck with the plan to keep Gibbs in the lower series, instead of promoting him to Cup. But I don't know. Kyle Busch did seem eager to leave Gibbs. I think he'd probably welcome the chance to come back. I mean, he actually said as much a couple years ago. So I don't know. The Ty Gibbs experiment just doesn't seem to be working, especially because he's not making the playoffs. I think he made the playoffs once, maybe twice, since he started. And this is his 4th season? Yeah, that sounds about right, 4th. Because this will be Busch's 4th season at RCR. So, yeah. I mean, Gibbs is still young. There's still time for him to improve as a driver. But eventually, you got to cut your losses and go for somebody else. This isn't like Hendrick Motorsports. Because unlike Hendrick, Gibbs has managed to keep 4 cars competitive for more than 1 season or 2 at a time. He's had pretty solid lineups at 4-car lineups at his team before. So if Ty Gibbs isn't cutting it, he needs to go back down, and somebody else needs to be in that car, because if Ty Gibbs isn't winning this year, I'd be asking some questions over the offseason. I'd be having those conversations now, actually, because yeah, things aren't getting any better, from what I can tell. Gibbs still has speed, and I think Gibbs will probably win a race before it's all said and done. But will it be soon enough? I guess we'll just have to find out. Corey Heim will be running 12 races, a third of the schedule. He's probably the only non-full-time driver I'll be talking about. I think it's a crime that Heim will not be in a full-time ride in any of the top 3 series, but getting any seat time, especially sticking with Toyota, is better than nothing, which is probably what he would have got had he tried to leave Toyota, I would imagine. I don't believe the rumors of him being at Spire were ever going to happen anyway, so yeah. Corey Heim, I didn't have much excuse to pull for him back then. I kind of got tired of seeing him winning races and stuff in the Truck Series. But whenever it became clear that he was really the only deserving champion, I was pulling for him just because even though I wanted an excuse to get rid of the playoff system, I felt like if anybody deserved to win the championship in their division, it was Corey Heim. And thankfully, he ended the season with 12 wins, including the last race. Even though he almost lost it, I am pretty... And Heim does have a top 10 finish, at least one top 10 finish in the Cup Series this year. So really look forward to see what Heim can pull off in his limited seat time this year. He'll probably get more than just those 12 Cup races. He'll probably race... I'm pretty sure he's slated to race some in the Tricon, Tricon number 1 truck in the Truck Series. So we'll see how he does there too. And I'm pretty sure he'll end up getting some Xfinity starts somewhere. I don't know where or how, but he probably will. So yeah, we'll see what Corey Heim does, and we'll see if this limited start will light a fire in him to do great things and finally secure a full-time ride for 27. Corey Heim. Michael McDowell. I think Michael McDowell's career is winding down. I don't know, especially if Spire pursues Busch and decides they want to keep Suarez. I wouldn't be too surprised to see Busch take his spot, honestly. McDowell has done decent at Spire since joining the team. He just hasn't been quite what he built up at Front Row. But saying that though, I do remember some spots this past season where that 71 team did run pretty decently. So I don't know. For all Michael McDowell could surprise, but I just don't see it. It seems like he's kind of on the decline, and he's the same age as Kyle Busch. But Kyle Busch on the decline doesn't look the same as Michael McDowell on the decline, because at least Kyle Busch on the decline has more of a chance at winning races. Michael McDowell went so long without winning that he has two Cup wins. That's all he has to show for several years of driving, and they're both for a team he doesn't drive for anymore. Not saying Michael McDowell is going to have a terrible year. He might win a race. Who knows? Spire has come close enough so many times anyway. I'd almost expect it at this point, but I have a feeling that if anybody at Spire is going to win, it'll be Carson Hocevar in the 77. And boy, is that going to be an annoying day. I am so sick of Carson Hocevar. Yeah, I don't really have a whole lot of love for Spire this year. I mean, Michael McDowell is... I like Michael McDowell, and he is the driver that at Spire that I actually do like. But he's also the driver... I don't know. It's between him and Suarez, who I think will be the lowest performing driver on the team. But yeah, I don't know. I just don't expect a whole lot out of Michael McDowell. Carson Hocevar will probably end up winning a race this year. And if he does it by taking out somebody, unless it's Joey Logano or Daniel Suarez... It probably won't be Suarez because Suarez is his teammate unless he does it on accident. But I don't see myself getting too pumped for a Carson Hocevar win. I liked him when he was struggling to win races in the Truck Series, but now he's with Spire and he got moved up to Cup a little too early in my opinion, and I don't want anything to do with Carson Hocevar. I'm tired of him, but he's not going to go anywhere. In fact, he just signed a pretty big extension with Spire recently. So, yeah, he's not going anywhere anytime soon. And although I will say, like Ross Chastain, because Ross Chastain was kind of in this situation too, I think Ross will end up being the better of the two drivers. But I don't know. Carson Hocevar apparently has this high ceiling about him. I don't see it. He struggled to win truck races, so we'll see about that. Of course, whenever he got in the Spire truck, he won pretty decisively. So I'm kind of back and forth on Hocevar. It could go either way. I wouldn't be shocked if he won a race, but I don't have any intentions on pulling for the guy. I'm kind of over him. And I'm guessing, let's see. Yeah, Connor Zilic, probably the next one. Connor Zilic, I felt bad for him getting scammed out of screwed out of the championship because of the stupid playoff system that shouldn't be in the lower series. And I just don't. But that's pretty much as far as it goes. I got like Corey Heim. I kind of got tired of seeing him win all the races. Luckily, both him and Heim are going to be humbled this year. I don't see Connor Zilic winning a race. I do see a lot of improvement over where Suarez ran last year. I mean, Connor Zilic could win a race, but he's definitely not making the chase. I see Shane Van Gisbergen making the chase before I see Connor Zilic making the chase, because Shane has more experience in these cars, and he will probably do better than Zilic at the road courses. at least for this year, until Zilich gets better with this car. Because Zilich only has so many starts in this car, and Shane Van Gisbergen has uh, several times the experience now over the last few years than Zilich does. Not to say Zilich is going to be bad. I just don't see him. In fact, let's see, who is it? Who's he racing for the Rookie of the Year? I think he's by himself. So yeah, he's a shoe-in for the Rookie of the Year anyway. He's just by himself. But yeah, I don't know. I don't. There are people who are predicting that he could go on a tear and win a few races this year. But even if he does win a couple races, he's not making the chase. He won't be that consistent. He won't be that good yet. I'm pretty confident in saying that. But all right, we're finally almost done. Shane Van Gisbergen. I'm gonna get this brief because I'm ready to end this. But like I said, Shane Van Gisbergen has the more experience between him and Zilich in these next-gen cars. And Shane Van Gisbergen has shown a lot of improvement. And I don't believe that Shane Van Gisbergen will be a one-trick pony. I don't like that saying. I think it's dumb. I get the saying. I get why it's said, but I don't really care for it. But Shane Van Gisbergen, I think, he'll continue to improve on ovals. I don't see him winning an oval unless it's like a super speedway race, which I think is entirely possible. But yeah, we'll see what happens. But I think Shane Van Gisbergen can make the chase, especially if those top 25 runs become top 15, top 20 runs on ovals, and maybe he gets a few top 10s on non-road courses. I could definitely see Shane Van Gisbergen, if he keeps from wrecking a lot and continues his steady improvement on the ovals. I believe he will win a oval outright before he's done racing in the Cup Series. And that's all I have to say. That's my opinion on the top, or the full-time drivers in the Cup Series. If I miss somebody by mistake, my bad. Just get down there and say, "Hey, doofus, you missed somebody." But that's really all I have to say. Pulling for my boys, Busch, Bell, and Briscoe this year. Like I have the last few seasons now. And got a few other guys I hope have success too. Really looking forward to the truck series this year with Ram coming back. And this is after the race for the seat. And I just want to say congratulations to Minnie Tyrell on winning the truck ride in the 14 for Colleague this year. I hope looking forward to see Tony Stewart come back, and I hope the rumors, because the rumors proved to be true about Tony coming back. I hope the rumors about Casey Kane coming to run maybe a truck racer or two in the Colleague 25 also turn out to be true, because it'll be great to see Casey Kane back and back in a Dodge. So Ram, whatever. His first two truck wins came in a Ram. Number 2 ASE Ram truck for Ultra Motorsports. And I am on a tangent again. I am sorry. I apologize. I am going to end this stream very shortly. Let's see. What else am I excited about? I'm just excited to see how the chase works out thankful to Mark Martin, Denny Hamlin, Dale Jr., and everybody else behind getting this format finalized for this year. And I'm just thankful that we're done with the playoffs. Looking forward to this 2026 season. And, oh, crap, I forgot Ryan Preece. There was a 60 driver. I am so sorry. Brief rundown, Ryan Preece. I expect at least one RFK driver to make the chase. There's some people that are predicting 3 of them. I don't know if I see it. I think out of the 3 of them, Busher for sure. But Ryan Preece, very good shot that he wins a points-paying cup race. Congrats again to him on winning the Clash. But, yeah. That's pretty much it. I like Ryan Preece. He's a good guy. I enjoyed seeing him come up the ranks. Kind of came up, went back down, and then came back. He actually drove for Kroger for what is now Hayek Motorsports, was JTG back in the day. He drove for Kroger, and now he's reunited with them again as of last year with RFK. So that's a pretty neat sponsorship deal. Looking forward to seeing what Preece can do. He's definitely in a better position than he was at Stewart-Haas. And with that said, I'm going to end it. Good luck to all my drivers. I don't wish bad luck to the drivers I don't like, but at the same time, I don't want to see them beat my drivers. We're just going to have to see how that goes this year. But hopefully this is a good year for my guys. And I hope everybody watching this video doesn't mind my rambling too much. And thank you for listening. God bless, and we will see you for this 2026 NASCAR Cup Series season.